we seem to be evolving a lot faster in our knowledge, and the way we actually have evolved is just way faster than what the rest of the world when it comes to creatures are. Now, you could take the stance like most religious people do, that we are a higher being, we aren't like the animals, you know what I'm saying? But if you're looking at it from an evolutionist point of view, then that doesn't really fit. You know what I mean? It doesn't fit. If nothing else, that actually is a better argument for being like religious than you know, evolutionist. I mean, evolution doesn't really seem to account for a lot of things if you stop and look at it. That's just my take on it.
Right, I'm not so sure.
You know, and that's the physical aspects. You know.
Uh-huh.
Now, just to finish it up on the whole thing with Mothman. Okay. Now, today, just so you know, the TNT area is a super fun site, and
Super.
yeah, and that's due to groundwater contamination. And they say that that's because from wartime chemicals. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And a lot of skeptics, they suggest that that might have been the cause for hallucinations or even local mutations. You know. So for me, I don't know, that kind of takes you into areas that also goes into like the government experiments. It even goes into the more crazier theories, like with MK Ultra and stuff like that, where you have these deformed creatures washing up on the side of the beach and everything. I remember those from a long time ago, and they are legit. Like, you see this crazy looking deformed animal, you know, that is washed up on the shore, and to this day, freaking, they don't want to admit that it came from a certain island that we will not mention. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. You have to fill me in that one and give me more information later on that one.
Yeah. The Montauk experiments is what I'm talking about.
But I'm not sure about the actual animals you're talking about.
All of it started out because of the Montauk monster. Okay, now the Montauk monster was this deformed animal that freaking was washed up on shore, and the research facility that was involved with Montauk had been apparently doing some kind of strange research on animal mutations and stuff like that. And as you know, if
you say deformed animal,
yeah,
what animal? What sort of animal?
You can't really tell what kind of animal it is.
If it's deformed, you must be able to identify animal first to be able to identify that it's deformed.
You're in front of that computer. You go ahead and do a Google search for Montauk monster, and it will show you a picture of what that sucker looks like. I could not tell you what kind of animal that is. Okay, it is just, it's unrecognizable, and I don't think too many people honestly could tell you what kind of animal that is, because it's really strange. It's a really strange animal. Okay, so
something prehistoric.
Yeah, it's pretty creepy looking, isn't it?
I don't know, some sort of mammal with a beak.
Now, see, this is the reason why I don't get caught up in a lot of that other stuff, like the MK Ultra stuff. or like the remote viewing stuff, because like people will lose track of information like this, like the Montauk monster. Okay. Now they're talking about now with this TNT area having contamination and water chemicals and stuff like that, and they're saying that it could be causing hallucinations or local mutations and stuff like that, which is the same thing as Montauk. You know, they're talking about local mutations and stuff of that nature. Now the hallucinations, I think that could be experiments that they have been doing when it comes to freaking like consciousness and trying to influence the surroundings. You know what I mean? I really, if anything,
I could make an argument like some sort of chemical or some sort of thing is accidentally entered the waterways.
Well, I mean, hopefully they find out for sure if that's the truth. But you'd think after all this time from 1966 to now, they would have figured something out. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, but then again, this goes back to the sort of question about how reliable are organizations or agencies such as the US FDA. Yeah, how reliable have they been?
Okay, so now that you've started talking about how reliable things are, let's get on to the next one. Let's talk about the Ministry of Defense for the UK and how they recalled 18 files.
Yeah, you said 18 files earlier, and I only didn't actually say what these files were about.
Okay, now in 2013, the UK Ministry of Defense, they claimed to have released it. It claimed to have released its final batch of declassified UFO documents. Yet it later admitted that 18 specific files had been withheld from the National Archives. Now these files, they're often called the real-life X-files. And they were reportedly kept back for additional security vetting because they contained potentially sensitive information or personal details that required redacting. Mm-hmm. Okay, so while the Ministry of Defense officially closed its UFO desk in 2009, these 18 files were part of a broader trunche, or however they say, trenche. You guys have a weird way of saying stuff.
Group of files, that's the column.
And they were expected in 2013 that didn't appear as scheduled. Okay. Now, after years of delays and freedom of information requests from researchers, the Ministry of Defense, they did begin releasing the withheld documents in stages. Now, in 2017, a batch of 15 files was quietly released to the National Archives. Okay. And then in 2018, the final 3 files were cleared for public viewing.
National Archives, UK National Archives.
Mm-hmm.
That's a department.
Now, despite the secrecy, the files largely mirrored previously released detailed unidentified flying object sightings near landmarks like Stonehenge and the House of Parliament, along with internal memos discussing the closure of the UFO desk. Now, to me, that sounds like it's just a bunch of hogwash. I think they just used it as fillers because people in the ufology community was asking about these 18 files since 2013 at least, okay? And they kept withholding them, and then they just released fluff documents. That's just my take on it. I really don't believe that these 18 files had actually been released, to be honest with you.
Okay.
No, I went over some of the newer stuff that came out with it, and they did say that they had been released in 2018 eventually, but they were done quietly. And the stuff that I found out about it is like I found out, like they're it's just fluff pieces, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like, they're talking about memos that discuss the UFO desk being shut down. You know what I mean? Or they were talking about sightings over Stonehenge or the House of Parliament, which had already been released. But then they held these back. I mean, they literally had them okayed for release to the archives, and then they redacted it. They actually retracted them and brought them back to the Ministry of Defense so that they could supposedly do more redacting to them. You know what I mean? It took that long for them to put it out, and I still don't believe that they actually did put up the documents that they were supposed to. That's just my take. So what do you think about that, man?
Without knowing what's in the files, I can't comment, but it doesn't necessarily mean that these files relate to extraterrestrial activities. Could be related to, I don't know, Cold War related activities, as an example.
Now,
more national security related issues.
The thing about these files, though, and I don't know if you're aware of this, because, well, I know you're in England, okay, but I don't know if you're aware of this, but England has some of the highest freaking sighting rates than most of the countries in the world, okay? And I don't know if you're aware of that or not. Like, the United States has a lot of UFO sightings too, but like the UK has a crap load of them, okay?
Over the course of what period?
Since they've been talking about them. I couldn't tell you exactly how long.
16th century? Yesterday?
Most of it would actually be occurring like right in between or after the world wars, especially after the nuclear bomb was set off in Japan.
So again, goes back to the Cold War theory.
Well, not really, because like, I mean, these files, man, I mean, it's like England took a really, really serious approach on the UFO thing, and then like they did an about face with it. Like, they actually have a huge file on UFOs. When they released those files, there was a crap load of them. Okay.
In theory, a lot of countries have large files in relation to, but they have not been released, or they are in an archive in some governmental basement.
I'm telling you, UK has a lot of files on it.